Hey, Redcasters, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Go Big Red.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast, the Husker fan sports show.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast. I'm not really the host tonight. I think we're all kind of doing this together, but I'm here with Abby.
Yeah. Hi. I had a great time watching Nebraska volleyball beat Kansas on Friday and have absolutely no idea what happened next. That's the world I'm in right now.
Okay. Cognitive dissonance. I like it. That's
not cognitive dissonance, Rob.
Oh, it's not.
No.
I mean, you don't want to believe like what is right in front of you.
That's not cognitive. It's still not cognitive.
That's more denial, I think, Rob.
It's cognitive denial. I don't know. I don't know. No, you're gonna make me Google it because I'm stupid.
You could just trust the person who's a psychologist, Rob.
Well, whatever. It's not like you're a doctor.
Boomer, you're with us too.
Yeah, and we have Boomer.
Yeah, I'm here tonight. I was going to take this opportunity to announce my upcoming championship bout against Terrence Crawford, but he's ducking me and deciding to retire. So much for that, I guess. But congratulations, bud.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I just want everyone to know that Abby found the soundboard. So, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Yeah, maybe I'm just going to regret downloading some of those, but I mean.
Go take a seat in the dressing room.
Yeah. So, I would like to give a shout out to Husker Hoop Central. You can follow them on Twitter at HuskerHC. He sent me over, as he said, pulled up the skirt on his soundboard on his website. So if anybody is like, I basically just was able to rip a bunch of sound from him for that. It's at huskerhoopscentral.com. Nothing interesting has happened in the world of being a Nebraska Cornhusker in this last week. So it's going to be a relatively short show. So thanks everyone for joining. Have a great night. And that's another Go Big Red. Oh, wait, there is something to talk about?
Might be one or two things, maybe three. So
okay.
Where should we begin?
You know what, Boomer? I'm going to flip a coin and let you start. Wait, that doesn't make sense either.
No, not really. If I'm starting, I don't know what the coin toss does. So, yeah. Anyway, should we start with some unpleasantness? Get that out of the way. Let's,
So just talk about the Huskers in general?
Yeah, in general.
Okay.
Well, Abby, I guess we can bring you up to speed with Husker volleyball. Let's open with that. Not much other way to put it. This was a disappointing end of the season. I don't know what else to say. I was going to let you kind of.
Yeah, it was disappointing. Yeah. I would agree with that. It was disappointing. I think it's important to not, to not just say that the season is a failure because of it. I saw a lot of that on Twitter right afterwards, and I think, I understand because the expectations were so high. The expectations were a championship. The talent was a national championship. The skill was we were the best team in the entire country all season long. And that's kind of the risk of single elimination tournaments when you're a number one seed or a high seed is that it only takes one. But I just think it's too reductive, and it's a disservice to that team and everything they did to say that the season wasn't a success because of it, because we still, we dropped one set in conference play, and nobody else can say that. Literally nobody else can say that. I know Kentucky went undefeated in the SEC. They dropped many more than one set. So they can't say that. We won the Big Ten for the third year in a row. Bergen won setter of the year in the Big Ten 3 years in a row. Danny won Big Ten coach of the year. There were all these really great accomplishments. We set attendance records just about everywhere we went. There are all these accomplishments of this team that get diminished when we just say, well, they didn't win a championship, so it doesn't matter. And it absolutely matters. And Yeah. I mean, oh gosh. Oh,
Well,
no,
I
I'm
mean,
thinking
you
about
had
it again.
so many things. You had so many things
Yeah.
that just like didn't go right.
It was, I mean, I'm telling you, we joked there, because I was covering it. We just joked that like the volleyball gods had said enough. You know, I assume it's common knowledge now, but Friday was announced that, Bergen had the flu. Had the flu earlier that week, and if you saw her, I don't know what it looked like on TV, but in person, I mean, just looked awful. You could just tell she wasn't really. You could tell she wasn't feeling well. And then Campbell, our backup setter, right, broke her finger, so it was completely. And for a setter, like you can't wear a big club like the SMU player. You have to have your fingers in your hands. So she was done. She just wasn't going to play, and we got pretty lucky that we could go against Kansas in that first round. And it didn't really impact that much. Bergen was able to kind of play through that. But then getting into that A&M game, Bergen's still sick. Campbell's still out. Allie Check rolled her ankle or stepped on a ball or something right during warmups. So then we lost an oppo. We had I don't know who else playing wise had the flu, but the flu had kind of run through the team. There were kind of just late season, I don't want to say injuries, but just, pains and things like that from a bunch of our players that all hit at once and hit at the worst time possible against an opponent that couldn't have happened. This was a terrible matchup. I go back to it again. It's something about Nebraska and A&M is always a terrible matchup, because even when we got them in basketball a couple of years ago, it was just like the worst thing that it's just like not right. And I have so many feelings. I'm not a conspiracy person, and this isn't an excuse, but I hate that the NCAA had to make a story again, and that, it sucks. But Texas A&M played a great game. They played an absolutely stellar game, and we were not at our best. And I think it's pretty amazing that not even at our best, we still took them to 5. We lost by 2. Like, we still played that so close. And
I mean, that comeback in the fourth set was probably one of the best. I would say that
was insane.
That was probably the best set of volleyball I have watched all season, and I've watched hundreds of sets this year from multiple teams, and that was. I mean, I watched, like in person, I saw Northern Colorado reverse sweep Washington, and that was really exciting. We watched them, the Huskers reverse sweep Kentucky, but like this was, I mean, those girls were playing their heart out, and, based off of what I'm understanding with their illnesses, they gave it everything they had. And, at this level, when you get to the best teams in the country and it's the tournament and you've final 8 teams, I mean, there is no, opportunity to have your like A- game, right? And because I can't even call it their B game or their C game. That was still an A game. They just everybody's bringing their A+ at this point, and it's
I mean, when you're the best team in the country, when you're the best team in the country, every single person gives you their best fight. And this was a time when Texas A&M's best fight was just a little bit better than our best fight. And Danny said it in the post game, this team maxed out. They gave everything they had, everything they physically could give on the court. And you saw it. Even, I mean, how many times did Torreya go running into the stands to try to get a ball? And she had some back she had some back pains that Friday. So like, even these players who are not at 100% were giving everything, and they gave everything, and it just wasn't, at this point, it just wasn't enough. And A&M had a little bit more, just a little bit more, and that's all it took.
So what was the deal with Andy Jackson too? Because I didn't watch the press conference, and someone asked her a question about like kind of the rotation and why she kept putting Andy on the bench and bringing in someone else. And I'm just wondering like what reason she gave for some of that. I don't know. Was it a matchup thing? Because it seemed like Andy was getting blocked a lot in the middle. And
yeah, I think so. The stats perspective is just that she wasn't hitting well. She wasn't putting the ball, she wasn't terminating, the balls were going out, she's making a lot of errors. And so I think just her hitting percentage was really low. Part of that I think could have been because her connection with Bergen wasn't great, because Bergen was a little bit off, right? Like when you have the flu, your brain's a little foggy. So it could have been a little bit of that. Their connection wasn't quite as strong. And Manaya, who came in for her, was able to kind of give us the spark that we needed. And she was really good. She came in right away and got blocks and got hits. And so I think it was just that. I think just Andy wasn't playing at the level that we needed her to be playing at that point. And you do what Danny did what she thought would help us win. And I think Manaya gave us a big spark and really, really helped us in some of those matches. So
yeah, I mean, she did.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, all those young women they played their heart out all year. I mean, was it the outcome that we wanted? Obviously not, but it's like, it's just, it's what it takes to be a Husker these days, you as a fan, you got to prepare yourself for the worst type of disappointment ever, it feels like. And we were right there with it. And, that's, I mean, I was still feeling that on Monday and I didn't really expect to, and it sucks. I work with a ton of Husker fans and everyone was just kind of like, hey, did you go watch the game? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it went. But on a brighter note, oh wait, that's not bright either. I don't know. Have we talked enough about that? Because I feel like,
I mean, if there are positives takeaway, like Abby said, I think that game, especially that fourth set, really kind of highlighted just how good of a sports product collegiate women's volleyball is, especially for television. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, even if you weren't a Nebraska fan or an A&M fan, that was compelling television to watch. I mean, that was a exciting set. I mean, everything's just hanging on edge by the end of that. And to go as long as it did, that really just kind of showed what this product is. And I'm glad it was finally on an actual network and not on, ESPN 8+ or whatever they'd put everything else on. And I think they had 1.2 million viewers, I think is what I saw announced for this.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah. So 1.2 million
one of the most watched regionals. I think it is the most watched regional in collegiate volleyball.
Yeah. I want to say, so yeah, that one was, I got the graphic up. So 1.2 million viewers for our game, 718,000, 100,000, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know. Math is hard. Viewers for our game against Kansas, 674,000 viewers for A&M Louisville, 663,000 for Wisconsin, Texas, and 468,000 for Purdue Pitt. So huge jump. I mean, a huge jump between those games. And we'll see what the Final Four numbers and the championship numbers look like. I hope we've grown, the game has grown. And so it's not just Nebraska fans who are contributing to those numbers, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll be watching those. I mean, I don't care, if the Huskers are there or not. I plan on watching it. It's high level sports. I don't care. You don't even have to say what it is, and just the competitiveness and the athleticism of these young ladies is just crazy. So, yeah. What else happened in Husker news this week? I guess transfer portal doesn't open up till the 2nd of January. So there's no way anyone's talking about that, is there? Boomer?
Well, so as it turns out, Rob, yeah, there's been some transfer portal news that I'm sure everyone in Husker land is well aware of over these last couple of days. It has basically been broken. I guess it's not formally announced yet, but since no one's formally entered the portal yet, but it does seem like the Raiola-era at the University of Nebraska is coming to an end, this season, with talk of him looking to enter the transfer portal and find a different location to play the rest of his college ball. So that definitely a lot of ways we can go about this, talk about it. What does it mean for Dylan? What does it mean for Nebraska? what are we going to do going forward? How do we address this in the off season? So who wants to start with that? So.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, we finished the season with TJ Lateef. And I don't know, the press conference today, but from Holgerson was, I don't know. I watched it. I was trying to kind of gauge his mood about everything. And, right now he's all in, according to him, on TJ Lateef. He did say that he felt like the season could have gone differently had, the injury not occurred in the USC game. He feels like that we would have won that game. He feels like we would have at least won a couple more games at the end of the season there, and things could have turned out different, but they didn't. And so it's time to, return our focus to what we have in front of us, which is the bowl game. I will agree that I do think that game, everything would have gone differently had Raiola not been hurt. I again go back to what I said before when I believe that, there should have been a plan B, and it just never felt like Holgerson really had a plan B. It just seemed like he tried to take Raiola's game plan and adjust it for TJ instead of just adjusting the game plan for TJ, if that makes sense. And so I'll be interested to see what they do against Utah, who is a very formidable opponent at 10-2 and could have easily been a playoff team if a couple of other things had gone, their way. And it's just a matter of, go out there and play with what you have. And hopefully, like we discussed last week, in the transfer portal, the transfer portal giveth, transfer portal taketh away. And I mean, sometimes that talent seems to work really well for us, and other times it doesn't. And you kind of made that point earlier in our chat, Boomer, if you want to kind of bring that up about, how we should approach that.
Yeah, that's something we can kind of talk about here. I was just going to ask Abby, I guess, are you surprised that Dylan is looking to leave? I know we've kind of touched on it before in shows, know. But yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. Shock?
Shock? No. Anymore in this era, I'm not surprised if anybody leaves. You just have to kind of accept it. I'm disappointed, I guess, is maybe more of the feeling of like, you know that nobody is truly loyal to a team the way that like maybe they used to be, and maybe they never were. They just never had an option out. But I think there's some disappointment that like he didn't stick through it one more year and, didn't follow through on this idea of what he said that he wanted to do and all of this. And so I think there's some disappointment. You want the kid who picks us to stay here. You never want anybody to leave. But I don't know. Shocked, surprised. I don't think there's anybody that could shock or surprise me at this point. I just expect all of them to leave.
No, that's true.
For football, I do. It's weird. It's just I don't know.
I mean, I'm curious. The kid moved around so much, whether it was high school, his decision on where he was going to play, everything. It's almost like you knew it was going to happen. You just kind of hoped it wouldn't, right? I mean, obviously, the signs were there when his brother was decommitted, but, his brother still hasn't committed anywhere. I don't know if he's been offered anywhere at this point. Obviously, he doesn't have to announce all of his offers like a lot of kids do. But who were the schools that offered him before us? I don't even know. Schools that... Boomer, you'll probably find that somewhere, but it wasn't anybody like formidable who'd be playing for a national championship anytime soon, from what I recall. And it just, I get the whole family thing. His uncle, a lot of people have been calling for his head for the last 2 or 3 years, and while the offensive line seemed to be playing better at the end of the season, I will also say that a lot of that has to do with the way and the style of play that we were playing a little bit with TJ, or I should say with TJ's style of play. He got rid of the ball a little bit earlier. We ran the ball quite a bit with EJ, and he also has the capability to get out of the pocket. So all of those things can factor in what your offensive line is going to look like. If you stand around in the pocket, you hold on to the ball too long, you don't throw the ball away when it starts to collapse on you, you're going to get sacked a lot, and that's going to make the offensive line look bad. So,
well, I also think, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, the play call itself changed after Minnesota. So after Minnesota, he didn't hold on, even Dylan didn't hold on to the ball that long. So that might have been. And Dana kind of said it, you know, that he had to like change what he wanted to play, what he wanted to call based on the O-line. And we won't get into my frustrations with Dana and how it's like, you knew that was your O-line.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it took that long for you to figure out that you needed to change that. So I'm gonna push back a little bit again. And I know I keep doing it because I think a lot of that was play calling. The play call itself changed after that Minnesota game because we saw sacks on both of our quarterbacks after that drop dramatically. So yeah, I mean, there's clearly like Dylan wasn't the quarterback. It turns out that Nebraska fans they thought they wanted it. It turns out they all want old school 90s type quarterback who runs more. I don't know that a true dual threat is a real thing anymore, but we'll see. We'll see if TJ's the starter. The way Dana talked, I wouldn't trust that TJ is necessarily going to be the starter next year.
No,
they might just pull somebody to play and make TJ sit again for a year. And then
he said that they want to pull the best players they can out of the portal. So I mean, I would assume that means quarterback. Hopefully that means a couple offensive linemen. Hopefully that means some linebackers, maybe a couple wide receivers.
A running back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of portal needs to address in the offseason, especially with the small recruiting class they had. Yeah. And I guess that kind of brings up the question, you know, if we're not convinced Latif is the starter next year, what kind of quarterback are we going to be able to get in the portal? I know, you know, there's names like, you know, Brendan Sorsby and, you know, DJ Lagway, and I don't know if that's realistic to bring in here, at least in the scenario that we've got, you know, some of those top names. One, I'm guessing the money they're looking for is going to be high, you know, especially, you know, just because they will. I mean, Sorsby's probably going to get millions of dollars, you know, $4 or $5 million to go play somewhere if he wants to stick around in college ball. So I don't know if those are realistic choices for Nebraska, just because I don't know if we have that money to spend on them, you know, with all the other pressing needs we have. And then those top names like that, I think they're looking to come in and just essentially be guaranteed a starting spot. So do we want to do that again? Are we going to have a true quarterback, you know, battle? I know Hunky talks about that all the time. He really wants a true quarterback competition. You know, in the offseason, you're not going to get one of those top guys to come in here and risk their last year or so of, you know, eligibility to possibly sit behind, you know, Latif. And that also raises a question. If you did get one of those guys, does Latif stick around another year? Because, you know, he's got Trey Taylor coming up. I mean, he's got players have a narrow window to play. And if they're not seeing the field and they know what's coming ahead of them, you risk him leaving. So I think, you know, if they, you know, they are going to have to, they need more quarterback depth. So they're going to have to get somebody, you know, in this portal season. Who that is, I don't know. I think they're going to have to fish, you know, maybe some of the smaller programs or smaller schools, or, you know, one of the lower tier Power 4, you know, G5 type things. I know there's what's that quarterback from Harvard, that Jared Craig, I think his name is. He might be a choice. Or
the guy from North Texas is available.
Yeah, North Texas. I think he'll have a pretty solid, you know, people going after him too. Or there's an Old Dominion quarterback, I think, was another option. I know that Aiden Childs from Michigan State's going in the portal. I'm not sure if he's quite what you want. He kind of reminds me almost of a Jeff Sims type guy, but yeah, so I think that's probably more realistic for what we're going for. And I think the big thing is, you know, the staff and, you know, Dana and Rule need to figure out what exactly do we want to be in the future. Are they really going to go for that dual threat standard? Is that what we're going to be recruiting from here on out? Because I think that was, you know, part of the big problem with, you know, like you talked about, Rob, we have, you know, Latif and, you know, Dana, they were very different type of quarterbacks fundamentally, and you kind of have to call a different game and block differently. Your receivers have to do some different things, and it's hard to, you know, just do a complete 180 with your quarterback and expect it to match perfectly. So yeah, they have to figure out what it is they want to do and go for that in the portal and get those pieces that you need to run that style of offense. So that's going to be the big question. Are they going to be able to do that in this offseason?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and especially, you know, we kind of mentioned this too. It's just attracting a top level quarterback here might be tough. I mean, we've had several quarterbacks come in here, and I can't say we've developed any. I mean, Sims certainly didn't do a whole heck of a lot here. You know, Dylan's leaving, Dayton left, you know, never saw down here. I mean, the sell is going to be interesting how they pitch it to a potential portal quarterback.
Would you say that Dylan got better this year than he was last year? I mean, that's the other thing too. It's like, you know,
I mean, in some aspects,
was
somewhat.
I mean,
his stats were better.
His stats were better. His interception to touchdown ratio was way better. He threw for almost 3,000 yards before he was injured, or over 2,000 for sure. I don't know the stats off the top of my head. Numbers and words aren't really my thing. So,
No.
Yeah. So, I just, it's hard to say like, oh, he didn't improve, because, I think he obviously did. And, this team looked a lot more controlled. He was a much better game manager, I will say, this year than he was last year. Like I said, did he have his flaws? Obviously, but I mean, there were so many good things that he was doing out there on the field. I mean, let's say, do we have another EJ situation where he comes back and ends up playing for us again? And that's that? Probably not, but I'm not going to rule it out. Right. I mean,
it's possible, but again, I'd say just for the money end of it,
yeah.
Kenny, I mean, you kind of have to know what he's doing, I think, before you go deep in your portal, and then that
he's got a pretty hefty contract with Adidas already.
He does.
So,
but you know what, we're rumored to be paying him an NIL too, or
of course,
revenue sharing and whatnot. It's pretty steep. So you kind of need to know, I think, fairly soon if he's coming back or not, because that'll dictate what you're able to go, offer in a portal, so yeah, you're going to have that figured out pretty quick. And then, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see the philosophy. I think we'll know a lot about kind of where we stand as in terms of recruiting and, quarterback development, what people think of us outside, and where the staff wants to take the offense based on who they look for in the portal. And as for where Dylan's going to go, who knows at this point? I saw a lot of talk about Louisville being a landing point for him. It's an Adidas school, and
it would be a good fit for him.
Probably,
I mean,
Coach Braun there too.
Yeah. He's an offensive guy, man, and they're playing in the ACC. That's just, I think that's a good fit for him if he's going to go anywhere. Plus, the way I think about it is like, we're probably not going to play them, so we don't have to like see him and think about him, even though we're going to, because we can't not hyperfixate on people who leave us more than anything else. But I don't know.
I'm not sure we've ever played Louisville, actually, Abby, so that might work out quite nicely.
I was talking to Dustin about it, and obviously as a Purdue guy, he's used to the Jeff Brom offense, and he said the same thing. He's like, that would probably be a good spot for him. Just those things would all match. And if we did play Louisville, it would be in a bowl game, which either means we did well enough to get into a bowl game, if they do well, or we both did the same. Like, that just means both teams are the same. And so it's not like suddenly he became a great quarterback or whatever. I don't know. I think there's going to be some weird things happening either way, but I think that'd be a solid place for him if that's where he went.
Yeah, and Vince, he's guessing Arizona State or Miami.
He's not going to Arizona State. Arizona State doesn't have any NIL money. He's not going to Arizona State.
Are they an Adidas school? I don't know if they are off the top of my head. I don't. I think that's probably the biggest thing is he's going to want to stick with that Adidas contract. So off the top of my head, I don't know if they are or not, but I know Louisville was, and Texas Tech is. Which would be kind of funny.
I think they are, but they don't have the money. Like, Dillingham made a whole thing when Levitt was first talking about going into the portal about like getting money and getting NIL, and so it's like he might, Vince, but I just don't. That doesn't make sense to me. If again, we believe the reasons he's leaving are for money, which it's up to you, I guess, if you believe that or not.
I don't know if I'd say he's leaving for money, because he's getting well paid here. I don't know if any school's going to offer more per se.
Right.
I think it's more just the fit isn't what everyone thought it was going to be from both sides, and taking an opportunity to try to better himself. Or put himself in a position where that matches his skill set better. So, yeah, I don't think it's a money thing just for, people that say it's all about money. That just doesn't make a lot of sense, because, the numbers I've heard, we're already paying him, like $3 million is the number you get thrown out about. Again, there's no, transparency in any of this, so we can't vouch for any of that. But that's what you hear, and I don't know how much more he'd get at other programs. I don't think it was $5 million. But so if it was money, I think he'd be staying. So if that was his sole motivation.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is at this point, and quite frankly, we have to move forward. We can't think about it too long. Obviously, we've got a bowl game coming up in 2 weeks? Is that about right? And it's crazy because the focus isn't on that. Which can I just say that, quite frankly, for lack of a better way to put it, Dylan's timing on this is really shitty and selfish. I think I will say that.
I don't know that it's selfish.
I mean, the portal doesn't open until January 2nd. It doesn't open
there
for 2 days after.
are a lot of people doing this right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to
know, but it's
I don't know if I'd say it's selfish. Yeah, because you've got to kind of get the word out there. Like we said, it's not official, quote unquote, air quotes here, but
I mean, he literally posted it on his Instagram story.
It's been since deleted, so there we go.
Yeah.
I
mean,
but
I would caution before calling it selfish, personally.
You can't wait until January 2nd to suddenly say you're going, because other teams have already, made their moves.
And maybe it's for the best that he did it now. Like, maybe it is for the best to do it now, because now that gives the rest of the team time to like not get over it, but like do whatever they're going to do. It gives the coaches time.
Wasn't he on campus for
Friday? He was there
on Friday, like at the volleyball match, and
it's fine, finishing out your semester and whatnot, and I wouldn't call it selfish. It's just the nature of what it is, and the way the portal has to work, and in the timeline of everything. That's just a general college football timeline. It sucks. They really need to fix that, and the portal time when it is, I don't think makes sense. And, we can talk about that at a different show if we really want to.
Teams can't sign players till after the portal is open. I don't know. I think,
but their agents can still talk to people. So,
yeah, their agents can talk. And now that it's out there and saying that, like, he's intending to enter, the agents can actually.
Well, I mean, I get how that works, but again, I don't know. I think I would go as far to say, as I understand that everybody has to start doing that, because so many other players are doing it. My point being is that, like, I might almost go as far to say that all of them are that way, in that, it's like taking the focus away from the team and moving on so quickly before, like, even the teams have a chance to do the bowl games. I mean, I think I understand guys that, like, sit out because they're going to the NFL draft. I get that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to risk that injury, but, like, in, cases where you're like, hey, I'm not going to play with my team and I'm going to enter the transfer portal. I don't get it. I just don't.
But that's not what's happening here.
I don't understand that mentality whatsoever. And the only word that I can really think of, is selfish. That's the only word that I can think of in that.
Right. But that's not what's happening here. Like, Dylan wasn't going to play anyway.
Well, that's my point. That was literally my point, though, is that the fact that he's not playing, he knows he's not playing, and it's like, and the rest of the team is preparing to do it. And he's just like, oh, and by the way, hey, while we're getting ready for this bowl game, there's a big distraction that I'm going to cause, because they can't sign him until after January 2nd when the portal opens. Is that the reality of the world? Sure, it is. But I don't know. I think it's tacky. I think it's tacky for all of NCAA.
That's fair, but that distraction's going to be there no matter what. That distraction's been there for weeks.
Right.
As soon as Dayton decommitted and all those articles came out that may or may not have been from somebody in Dylan's camp, it didn't matter. That became the distraction. It was going to get talked about no matter what.
I understand that. I understand that. It's not like making me feel any different about.
Is it better?
We're just telling.
Would it be better to not say anything and just kind of have that hanging over the team this entire bowl time?
Well, I mean, he wasn't playing anyway, is my point.
Right, but I guess if we're concerned whether he's entering the portal or not, is that
it doesn't matter, because it's not like he's going to be playing, right? Like,
so why is it selfish then?
Well, because
the example you gave was like somebody who's just like, I'm going to sit out because I'm going to transfer, and that's selfish, and that part I get, but like, Dylan's not going to be able to play anyway. So what distraction was it?
Well, I think that it's because that's all they talked about in the press conference today. That's all, and like, how much do we know about, like, prepping for the game plan for the bowl game upcoming in 2 weeks? Like, they hardly talked about it. That Danica had to keep changing the subject away from Dylan the entire press conference, and it's like, that's all they wanted to talk about. That's all the questions that the media was giving the entire press conference. I mean,
is that on the media then?
We're not going to agree on this, Abby. I think
no, that's fair, but I don't know what you want to do. I don't know what the answer is.
I wait until the actual transfer portal opens. I don't think I think I'm pretty clear on that.
Not realistic.
Well, why not? Why is it not realistic? Why? Because everybody else does it. It is realistic in that, like, you know what, dude, like, yeah, you have all this stuff surrounding about you. You're not on the team, like but you want to still be on campus. You still want to be seen by everybody and wave at the games and be all that, and then like show up on Friday at the volleyball game. And then on like Monday, turn around or Sunday, turn around and be like, oh, by the way, I'm entering the transfer portal. Peace out, everybody. And then all of the press the entire week is about nothing but him.
I just want to point out, I asked you guys if they showed him being at that volleyball game because I saw him after the game. So maybe he's still on campus because he's finishing classes.
Well, sure.
Maybe he's still on campus because he wants to support his sister. I think used to help with the volleyball. She played volleyball. So
maybe he's got season tickets and wants to,
yeah. And I'm sorry, and he knows them. Like he knows those athletes. So he was down there like talking to them after the game. I'm sorry. You're right. We're going to disagree on this. I just think I think calling somebody selfish for doing what's
best for them.
For
doing what's best for them.
I just think that is not the correct word for it. And I think that's just got the wrong connotation. And I guess
I'm just bitter because the whole thing feels like it was nothing but like a whole, like, where's our poem for him leaving? You know what I mean? It's like this kind of like his whole MO about like, I can't wait to be here and I'm going to turn this program around and everything's going to be, this, and I'm going to bring back all this pride because it's a family tradition and my father's name is on the, on the stadium and all these other things. And then he turns around and like does this because things
because what?
Because he's injured or because he just doesn't, like whatever the way things are instead of like actually just like working harder to be better. And he got injured and then he didn't like that like somebody else was starting and everyone backed it. Like, what are his reasons?
For a fact that that's what happened?
Well, no, I'm just saying there's a million different things, but it's all selfish.
Rumors. So you're mad at
I'm not mad at any rumors. I'm not saying I heard any of those rumors, but my point is that like just wait until the freaking transfer portal opens, Abby, and that's what it is. You can disagree all you want because I know that you have to be right in your head and I have to be right in my head. That's who we are as people. But I don't disagrey. I think it's selfish. End of story.
I'm just sitting on the sidelines knowing I'm quietly right. But, yeah. I don't think we're going to resolve that. I lean more towards Abby's side that it's just the nature of what it is. You got to get those feelers out there.
Just
before the
like I said,
opens.
just because it is what it is doesn't mean it's not selfish.
But,
that's a lot of weight to put on somebody. I think that's not appropriate, but.
Well, okay.
Anyway,
he's a grown adult making millions of dollars from this school.
Yes.
But well, I'm still saying like that's not any weight to put on anybody.
It is weight to put on people.
He's a professional athlete at this point, so he can take the criticism. I'm not jumping on his Twitters and saying mean things to him. I'm sitting here just saying that I think it's selfish.
On a
period.
Public forum. Yeah. Moving on. Clearly,
we're all entitled to our thoughts here. So yeah, okay, that's probably enough Dylan talk there. Anything else football wise we wanted to cover? I mean, new coaches.
Apparently nothing else has happened. So
I'm pretty quiet. I mean, we've got Utah coming up. Have they said much about Utah players sitting out or anything like that? Not playing.
Well, they didn't get a chance to talk about it in the press conference because all they talked about was Dylan.
It wouldn't
just be talking about Dylan, so I assume they didn't
talking about it.
Well, I mean, if we want to talk selfish, look at Utah. I mean, Willingham's announcing he's not coaching anymore after that game. So I mean, geez, talk about selfishness.
Well, that's motivating. All right, that's motivating.
Well, maybe Dylan was doing the same thing. He's motivating the team by saying, "This is the last time I'll be around here, so go out and win one for the zipper or whatever."
Sure, I don't think they're the same thing.
No, probably not. But
no,
I'm stretching here. So.
There have been rumors of Willingham like retiring all season long. So I mean,
there've been rumors about Dylan leaving all season long. So it all ties together. It's a nice symmetry to the bowl game. So something else we can add. So. Yeah. Any other football news that we wanted to address at this point? Everyone good? You guys done fighting? I hate to see you two fight. So that's the worst part. So no, good. So all right, shall we move on to more positive Nebraska sports news? There has to be some out there, right?
Nebraska ball.
Hey, yeah. What about that, men's and women's? Yeah. What can we say?
So. I guess we can open it up with a little. Yeah, that was an exciting week of basketball for Nebraska ball. Wisconsin blowout win, to say the least. And I mean, did something else happened on Saturday? They won a game against Illinois, number 13 Illinois. They are now ranked 15th in the AP, 15th in the coaches. They are 12 in the net, although that changes. Seems like it changes quite a bit.
It does.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we are still undefeated. And, looking like a real basketball school. The women are also still undefeated. I think they finished. I was watching the game the other day, but they finished the first quarter up 34-2. Was that the right score?
Yeah, the one on Illinois State. Yeah, that was a crushing. Yeah, they looked pretty good in that game. Yeah, actually, the last couple of non-con games, they pretty much just smoked, both those teams. Those were never in doubt. So, yeah, it's crazy. Once again, like we always joke about, Indiana's great in football and we're great in basketball. So somehow there was a weird change that, somebody's luggage got swapped at an airport and, each side got the other. But, take it for what it's worth. I mean, that game against Illinois, I think, really just highlights just kind of how different this team is this year. Because we all watched that, and I think we were all pretty aware that the refereeing might have been a little one-sided in favor of the home team there. I know that never happens in the Big Ten, where the home team gets a substantial amount of calls going their way. But it looked like every time, Nebraska would get a run, a solid lead going, a 10-point lead, here would come the fouls, and, a 2-minute span, Nebraska would get called for about 6 fouls, and, hey, Illinois could close the gap pretty quickly. But yeah, I think in years past, I mean, what did the foul ratio end up being? It was like
21-9. Yeah. And then you get Illinois fans that are like, oh, well, Illinois just took a lot more 3-point shots, or, because Nebraska was taking so many. And the fact is Nebraska was taking so many 3-point shots, but Nebraska took 26 compared to Illinois' 29.
Yeah. So, that wasn't any different. Yeah, it was clearly, there was some home cooking there. We've talked about that in shows past in basketball season. Big Ten refs tend to favor, home teams for whatever reason it is, and particular home teams more than others. Illinois seems to be able to get away with a lot of, pushing and shoving, and especially on their home court.
Yeah. We had 34 shots in the paint. They had 27. You know what I mean? So don't tell me that, we weren't playing in the paint.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, what really impressed me though is this team didn't fold despite that adversity. I mean, it would be real easy for a team just to get pissed off and just say, okay, fine. If you're going to, ref like this, we're going to pull a Notre Dame and just take our ball and go home, for the game and just not continue to play. But yeah, that team didn't quit. I mean, they played that entire game and, fought through adversity on the road, in a tough place to play. And, you hate to get ahead of things, but man, that's just a good feeling coming out of this stretch of games. I know we talked a few weeks ago about how, we had Creighton, Wisconsin, Illinois coming up, and we were hoping maybe can you win, 1 or 2 of them at best. But this team's managed to win all 3. I mean, that's something we can't say a whole lot about Nebraska ball, where you're coming into, we've got 2 buy-in games here again, so don't choke and lose those 2. But man, you'll be looking at January and undefeated 13-0. I mean, could anyone have imagined that starting this season?
No, and not only that, but I think it was kind of cool how the Illinois coach gave so much praise to Hoiberg after the game. Sam Hoiberg, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Our defense, again, it wasn't, I mean, you're playing Big Ten competition, so obviously you're not going to keep the team below 40%, shooting like we have most of the season for a lot of these other teams. But, we ended up with 20 assists as a team. I think Hoiberg had 6 of those. We had 6 steals as a team. I'm pretty sure Hoiberg had like half of those. It seemed like every time we turned around, he was getting kind of like, he took one shot at the end of the game there where he missed it, still got the rebound in the paint amongst the trees, as they like to say, got the putback, missed that, but then, Garcia ended up getting that rebound and offensive rebound and scoring the points to, I think it was to tie us up at the end there, and just the heart that this team shows, and just the, it's like Nebraska teams, it seems like a lot of times we do play with a lot of heart, but then like, maybe the skill's not there always. And now this team has got a little bit of everything, right? I mean, we got guys that can mask, can play on the inside, can shoot from the outside. I think he had 2 threes in the game. I mean, there's just so much going on with that team that it's fun to watch. I think Dave in our chat always just puts like, this team is different, I think is what he keeps putting,
Yeah, certainly feels like it. And then you can even have Sanford have a game like he did against Illinois. What did he have? 30.
Oh, I wasn't even getting there. 33. 32 points. 26 in the first. Yeah, it's like he couldn't miss.
Yeah, so. And it's just great that you can have somebody like that step up and take over a half for you, and not have to worry. Not put everything on mast or not put anything on. Insert your player here to have to carry a load for you for a while. I mean, that's why this team does feel a little different right now. I know it's early, and I'm trying not to look ahead and jinx this thing because we all know how Husker sports tend to disappoint all of us in the long run. But yeah, so yeah. What about the women's game, Abby? Did you have much that you watched those in the last few games? I mean, what did you?
Yeah, I went to that game as well. I covered that game, the Illinois State game. They set a couple program records in that game, which I think is worth talking about. They held Illinois State to 2 points in the first quarter. That's a program record. I think previous first quarter low was 4 points, and the lowest points we've ever held a team to in any quarter is 1 point against Illinois, which is weird. I don't know. 2 points is pretty unbelievable. 1 point is somehow you missed a free throw, which is ridiculous. We also are, what are we at, 11-0? So we've had 11 consecutive games of scoring 80 or more points, which is also a program record. I think, I'm trying to remember what Jeff told us, if there was also a program record in blocks or steals. There was some other one that I'll have to go back to my video and watch. So we set a few different program records in this game, which was really exciting. Yeah, I mean, I know it's Illinois State, but it's hard to keep anybody, to low points consistently. And I mean, 44, we had a bad second quarter. We let them score almost 20 points, but I don't know. Again, another really fun team. They share the ball really well. They're just really handsy on defense, which is super fun to watch. They've got one more. I think they play Cal Poly. Is that right? Or am I still thinking of the wrong sport?
Cal Poly or Cal Baptist. Some Cal, yeah.
Well, some Cal school,
Cal yeah.
One of the Cals. They'll play them, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah, 21st, I believe. Yep.
The 21st. And then I think either Friday or Saturday after that, the 29th, I believe, we kick into conference play. We start with USC, and then I thought we played. Oh, that's all games.
It is Cal Baptist, which I didn't even know there was a Cal Baptist. So
So sorry. Cal Baptist versus USC at Iowa. And then a little bit easier, Purdue, Indiana, and then UCLA, Michigan State. So it'll be a grind. It'll be a real grind of a conference for us. So a little bit of a break before we get into it.
So do you think that the women's team too, because I know that they've been ranked and, obviously all that, like the men, right? Like when we were 9-0 and was it 9-0 or 10-0, 9-0, and they got ranked 23rd, right?
Yeah.
And even then, to me, like in my head, just because it's Nebraska, it felt a little bit underranked based off of just my observations of watching a lot of college basketball. And obviously now I feel like we're put, at number 15. That feels a little bit more right. Obviously, those wins kind of had to go out there and prove it. Do you think that this women's team is maybe better than their ranking, like as we go into playing a team like number 19 USC, who's 4 spots ahead of us, or number 11 Iowa? Do you feel like maybe those are just like in the women's game? I know that there aren't a ton of upsets, right? Like when you watch, like ranked teams generally tend to win out. I think it's some kind of crazy rate. I want to say, is it in the 90%? Does anyone know that? And I'm just curious, do you think that this team is maybe better than their ranking and could come out of this with like 1 win or 2 wins? Or
well, I think so parity in women's basketball hasn't actually hit yet, so you're not going to see as many upsets as you do in men's basketball. I don't know, it'll be interesting. I haven't watched a lot of either USC or Iowa. I know Iowa lost to Iowa State, and not that matters because apparently Iowa State is just very good at basketball in both men's and women's this year. I don't know. I mean, I think if they can split that, that would be pretty amazing. I think the expectations were probably similar to what a lot of people thought going into this 3-game stretch with Nebraska before the season started of like, well, between Creighton, Wisconsin, and Illinois, maybe we'll get a win there, and that would be great. And then we got 3. I think if we could get a win in our next 3 games, if we can get 2 wins, I think that would be pretty amazing. Just again, because that parity isn't there. So we're ranked 23rd. I think we're I don't know, we could be a high teens, 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there. We could be that good. I know that's Amy's goal, is to be top 16 in the net. We're 11th in the net ranking right now. She wants us to be in top 16. She wants us to host. I don't know. It's possible. The difference is like we haven't really been tested in the women's game the way that the men's game have, only because we haven't played a ranked team yet. We played Virginia, right, and beat them, and that was great. And I'm just like looking at.
I mean, 4 of their next 6 games are against ranked teams, right? Because the Big Ten has what, 9 teams?
Yeah. Like well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Yeah, of their 6, 7, you could go 7 to Michigan State. Yeah, because it's Cal Baptist, which isn't Southern Cal.
Oh yeah, Iowa. I wasn't counting Cal Baptist. I forgot them. Sorry, Cal Baptist.
Purdue's not. I don't think Indiana is. UCLA is. Michigan State is. Wisconsin's not. I don't think Illinois is.
The Indiana schools are not ranked at all. Purdue and Indiana are backed up, but and we also have them at home, right? So that's kind of good, at least for that, right?
We do a little stretch, which is really nice.
Yeah.
We play Southern Cal at home. We go to Iowa, and then it's like 1, 2, 3 games at home. Go to Michigan State. Go to Wisconsin. Home for a few. Yeah, we'll see. There's a couple games on there that I think are going to be rough.
Yeah.
Just because of how good some of these teams are, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
That bit of a fight.
Something I saw somebody point out too, like Britt Prince in her hair, right, with just the headband and just the flowing blonde. Like how I've watched other games too, and I'm trying to figure out it's just crazy that she plays the game with her hair down like that, right? I don't know, it just seems crazy. As much women's sports from my sister growing up to now, it's you don't see a lot of that. So it's kind of fun to watch her go out there and I don't know if dominate's quite the word yet, but play at such a high level against the competition they've been playing. And just kind of have her own unique style. It's a lot of fun just because you can always find her on the court, right? She's never gonna, she's always gonna stand out and be that player, whether it's from scoring or just when you're looking for it. So, I mean, the team's a lot of fun to watch in itself. They come out, they handle their business, and they win. I mean, God, they were up, when they were up 34-2 after the first quarter, I was like, oh my God,
21.
Was it 20?
I wish it was 34. It was 21. Yeah.
Was it only 21? It seemed like it was
yeah.
higher. Yeah. They just, I think and at one point I think Illinois State brought it to within 12 or something like that, but I can't remember. It was on I was cleaning too, so you'll have to forgive me if my stats in my head weren't perfect, but yeah. I mean, it's a fun team to watch. If you aren't watching them, start. If you don't have Big Ten Plus, you got to contribute to that revenue share, I guess, for the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, it is the holiday season. You can gift yourself that for a few months anyway, if nothing else.
Yeah, I don't even know. How much is it a month? I subscribed and then kind of forgot. It's only if you subscribe to one team, which you can.
Yeah, it's not a lot, I don't think. Yeah, like you said, you can subscribe to Nebraska. And unless you're a big fan and want to watch, Purdue and Northwestern, I guess you can get the whole thing. But no offense to our Purdue listeners out there. So.
No. I think we have one for sure.
Yeah, one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't listen. No.
Well, that's fine. We don't either, so it's okay. So,
yeah. And what else we got going on?
I don't know. Is anything else blow up in Husker sports this week? Anything else go horribly awry in rifle or bowling or anything like that completely discombobulated Husker Nation? Or
no, rifle's
okay
done.
For a time. Yeah.
So I know rifle's done. I don't know. I think that's it.
That was enough. I guess for a couple of days of Husker sports, I think probably a substantial amount of things just for a brief time and what's supposedly an off season. So
Funny.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I think wrestling is. We'll see. I think they get a rematch against Oklahoma State on Sunday. Well, so the wrestling is North Carolina on Friday, and then they get that rematch against Oklahoma State, which, or if you remember early in the season, they just kind of pooped the bed against them. So that could be fun. I don't know. I don't really understand wrestling, so I don't watch a lot of it, but supposedly that'll be good. Yeah.
I've watched it since high school when my buddies used to wrestle, and I still don't understand the point scoring system. Like half the time you think like, wow, that guy did something really good, and like there's no points awarded for it. And then like just some like simple move happens and it looks like some guy slips, and next thing you know, it's like they're getting 2 points for a takedown or something.
Yeah,
So
I just wait till they bring in a metal chair and smack the guy over the head with it and call it good.
Yeah. I mean, John Cena retired, right?
He did.
Yeah, and then he went out with a sleeper. Someone put him in a sleeper hold or something.
Yeah, we can discuss that on our other show. Yeah,
oh.
We have our feelings about that, but
yeah,
that's all right.
It's okay. Yeah.
No, I think it's probably a good place for some parting shots, Rob. What about you?
So. Oh, I think that. What do you? I don't know. Thanks.
Wait. Did we?
Wait.
Did we what?
Sorry. I mean, I know we're a Nebraska podcast. But last week we talked about the coaching carousel across the NCAA, and we talked about maybe Notre Dame. There is a new open spot in the coaching carousel this week that we didn't talk about. We don't have to talk about the details of it. But I feel we'd be remiss if we didn't at least add Michigan to our list of coaching changes this year.
Yeah, that I have to admit that one caught me a little off guard.
What happened? What happened there? Did he get fired?
Yeah.
That story went from funny to sad really fast.
So fast.
And just odd. I know. So Biff Pierogi, it's not his last name. It's just what I call him because it just makes me laugh. Is gonna coach their bowl game. Bryce Underwood might enter the portal. I don't know if we've seen that, so we may not be the only team losing a 5-star quarterback. But no. There was some rumors. I think that Kenny Dillingham was going to go there, and he shut that down pretty quickly. I don't know if anybody's heard any new stories or rumors or anything about who's going to take that job over. But they may also be looking for a new. Who knows?
I made a joke today about PJ Fleck seems to be losing a lot of kids to the transfer portal before his bowl game here, and I made a joke that maybe he made an announcement that he was going to. To team that he was going to go coach somewhere else. And then somebody said, where do you think he's going to go, Rob? The Michigan job? And,
it could be. I mean, heck, Flex got Michigan ties. Wasn't he at which direction? Western Michigan? Central Michigan?
Yeah. Western, I think.
Yeah, we'll just mathematically average and say Eastern Michigan. I don't know. They're all the same.
Directional school.
Directional Michigan.
Directional at Michigan. Yep. Yeah.
Or like Vince says, maybe they should just hire Mike Riley with his Mr. Rogers image to clean things up. I mean, yeah, that's what smart programs do, right? They go for the complete diametrical opposite of your previous coach and try to tidy things up. But
so a nun?
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah,
maybe PJ goes to North Texas, or North Texas already hired somebody too, didn't they?
Too.
So
that is a good question. I mean, Michigan, for all of its insane faults in their athletic department, that's still got to be considered a marquee job for somebody.
Yeah.
And I know you've seen Kalen DeBeer and like you said, Dillingham kind of shoot those rumors down, but again, everybody says that until the next day when they're announces that the new head coach at Michigan.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'll be
fair.
curious to see where they go. Yeah.
I think Dillingham did sign an extension, which I know again that doesn't mean anything, but that I feel like that's a pretty good sign that he's gonna coach at Arizona State. DeBoer, I think, just put like a statement out through their NIL, because they haven't come to a finalization on his contract yet. But who knows?
I mean, do they try to wait and see like all the firings from the NFL?
That's my guess.
Isn't this upcoming Monday supposed to be like Black Monday or something like that?
It usually is once you get to the end of the NFL season. Then
Andy Reid
are fired on
Andy
Monday.
Reid to Michigan.
Andy Reid to Michigan. I don't know. I mean, I hear Bill Callahan might be available.
He's there.
Yeah. So. What about what's his name? Chip Kelly is available. I know that. Certain team in Las Vegas fired him this year as their offensive coordinator. Chip Kelly to Michigan.
You heard it here first, right?
Book it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry,
I'm not betting
I didn't
on that, Rob.
No, that's good. I
had completely forgotten about that after all of our week's excitement, Abby. It's just,
Yeah,
for
you know what?
this
That's
has been pretty
thing.
noisy.
Yeah. So, all right, are we ready for some parting shots?
Sure, why not?
All right. Boomer, let's start with you.
Yeah, actually, we don't have any parting shots. I just, it's just been such a crazy week, with all the, rapid fire. It's just been a roller coaster of a week, which I suppose is kind of why, people both love and hate sports simultaneously. I mean, you have the excitement of Husker basketball, both men's and women's, and the excitement of those games. You have volleyball. They lost. That was disappointing, but the game itself was fun to watch. I mean, it encompassed everything, with why volleyball is such a fun sport to watch. Just the drama and excitement and energy of that. Then you've got football off season, which, isn't always fun to talk about, but it is at least interesting. There's a lot of chess moves in there. Teams have to strategize, and you try to figure out what you're doing for the next year. And like Vince says, there's always next year, which is kind of the mantra of, 99% of sports teams. Most of us don't win championships every year. And sadly, Nebraska, since it's been that way for a while in a lot of sports. But you're right. There's always next year. So the mantra of a fan. So I'm going to embrace that. And I'm not sure. Are we going to do a show next week? Not sure if we are. Maybe. So we'll kind of play that by ear. So this could be our last show of 2025. And it may really be there's always next year as we kick into 2026.
Well, it will definitely, if we do a show next week, I definitely won't be there. So
let's do one. I'm just kidding.
I'm always here expecting that, Abby. That was a hell of a I don't have a parting shot there, Boomer. Yeah.
I kind of took a honky approach where it was, throw 5 parting shots into one, and all I needed was at the end of the day, to kind of tie it all together. So,
Abby?
I am going to just repeat what I said at the beginning. And, I think kind of, put it back with basketball of like most people's sports seasons end, with a loss. And that loss does not mean that the season doesn't matter. And the loss doesn't mean we don't get to enjoy the season. So, look, we had an unprecedented volleyball season for most of it, and enjoy those memories, and just pretend, if you want, that the A&M game hasn't happened yet. That's what I do. That's my coping skill. Enjoy these basketball wins as they happen. We're going to lose at some point. There's a reason nobody's gone undefeated since whenever Indiana did it, like the 70s. Like, it doesn't happen. We're going to lose games. But enjoy and have fun, because I think I tweeted it like, these are the unprecedented times that I would like to be living through. Like, I think we're really as like millennials and older, we're just like, we've lived through enough of this. Let's have something good. So these are our good times, and just enjoy them for what they are. Enjoy the wins, enjoy the teams, take the losses on the chin, but just enjoy this ride, because this is new for a lot of us, and for all of us, I think all of us, this is new for us. And, enjoy it, live it. Don't be Indiana fans where you're spitting on people, or Illinois fans where you're, flipping off players after a game. But, have fun.
All right. Well, I just want to wish everybody happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, any of those holidays that you choose to celebrate or not celebrate. And with that, it's another Go Big Redcast. GBR.
A Herd at Sports Network production.